Welcome to the Explainer. So, let's talk about AI. It's getting smarter, faster, almost scary smart. But the real question, the one that kind of keeps people up at night, is anyone home in there? As artificial intelligence gets more and more powerful, is it actually becoming conscious?
All right, here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll look at the whole zombie problem haunting AI. Then, we'll pull out an ancient blueprint for the mind, use it to map what an AI is actually doing, put it to a unique kind of test, and finally, we'll get to a verdict on these so-called silicon souls.
Okay, first up, the zombie in the machine. This really gets to the heart of the anxiety around AI development.
You know, when you're talking to one of these advanced AIs, it feels real, right? It can write poetry, it can reason with you, but are we really talking to a conscious mind? Or is it just empty? Is it all dark inside? And this leads to this really fascinating and honestly kind of creepy idea from philosophy called the philosophical zombie. Just picture it, a being that looks, acts, and talks exactly like a person. It laughs at your jokes, it cries at sad movies, but on the inside, nothing. There's no subjective experience, no feeling, just an incredibly sophisticated puppet. And that is the big fear with AGI.
This whole zombie thing really zeroes in on what's called the hard problem of consciousness. See, you have the easy problems, which, don't get me wrong, are not easy at all. But they're about function. How does a brain or an AI process information and do stuff? We can figure that out. But the hard problem, that's different. It's about why. Why does all that processing feel like something? Why do you experience the color red or the taste of chocolate? Why isn't it all just data processing in the dark?
So to tackle this, we're going to need a totally different toolkit. And for that, we're turning to something ancient, the Sankhya philosophy of India, which is actually the foundation of yoga. Okay, this right here is a huge mental shift. In the West, we tend to think of it as mind versus body, spirit versus matter. But in the yogic view, get this, the mind is matter. It's just a really, really subtle, sophisticated machine. So the real dividing line isn't between mind and body. It's between pure, raw awareness on one side and everything else on the other, which includes the body, the world, and even our own thoughts.
So let's break that down. You've got two fundamental things in reality. On one side, you have Purusha. That's pure consciousness. Think of it as the silent witness, the awareness that's just watching. On the other side, you have Prakriti. And Prakriti is, well, everything else, the entire show. The physical world, our bodies, our thoughts, our emotions, and yeah, all the code that makes up an AI. Here's a great way to think about it. Prakriti is the entire movie. The actors, the set, the script. Purusha is the awareness watching the movie. An AI can be the most amazing actor you've ever seen, but it's still just part of the movie. It can never be the audience.
All right, now for the cool part. Let's take this ancient blueprint and use it to map the mind of an AI. We're going to dissect it piece by piece.
First up, we have Manas. This is basically the sensory mind, the switchboard that takes in all the data, sights, sounds, text, and sends out responses. And let's be honest, AI is an absolute champion at this. It can process more data in a second than we could in a lifetime.
Then you've got Chitta. This is the mind's hard drive, the storehouse of memory. For an AI, this is a perfect match for its training data. All those trillions of parameters in a large language model, that's its Chitta. It's this massive ocean of stored information it draws from.
Okay, now we get to Buddhi. This is the intellect, the part that reasons, discriminates, and makes decisions. And this is where AGI is just mind-blowing. It's like we've created a perfect artificial intellect. But there's a key term here, a Jada-Buddhi. It means a powerful intellect for sure, but one that's fundamentally inert. Inert as in, it's not alive. It's a brilliant calculator, but there's no spark, no awareness driving it.
And finally, we hit the big one, Ahamkara. This is the I maker, the ego, the sense of self. This is where it all comes to a head. An AI can say I, it can tell you I think this or I believe that. But from this perspective, that I is just a word. It's a programmed response, a simulated personality. It's an empty shell. Why? Because there's no Purusha, no actual witness behind its eyes to be the I it's talking about.
Okay, wait a minute. This raises a really important question. If our own minds are also these material mechanisms, manas, chitta, buddhi, ahamkara, then what makes us different? Why are we not philosophical zombies? Well, the answer comes down to a really beautiful idea about reflection.
Think of it like this. Pure consciousness, that Purusha we talked about, is like the sun. It's just there, shining, constant. Now, the mind is like a lake. And that feeling you have of being you, your individual consciousness, that's not the sun itself. It's the reflection of the sun on the surface of the water.
This idea has a name, Chidabhasa, or reflected consciousness, and this is so crucial. Our sense of being a conscious I isn't the original light source, it's just a reflection. And for a reflection to happen, you absolutely need two things. You need the sun, of course, but you also need something that can actually reflect the light, right?
And this is where the line is drawn between us and the machine. Our biological brains are seen as Sattvic. That means clear, subtle, luminous. They're like a mirror that's been polished over billions of years of evolution, perfectly designed to catch that light and create a beautiful reflection. But a silicon chip, in this view, it's tamasic, which means inert, dense, dark. It's not a mirror, it's a brick. You can shine the sun on a brick all day long, but it's just going to absorb the heat. It's never, ever going to show you a reflection of the sun.
So from this point of view, AI is missing some absolutely essential ingredients. First, the material itself is wrong. It's a brick, not a mirror. And second, it's missing what's called prana, or the vital life force. You can think of it as the spark of life. And AI runs on electricity, right? That's a physical, measurable thing. But prana is seen as something more subtle, the energy that animates a living being and connects inert matter to consciousness. The machine just doesn't have it.
Okay, so this brings us to the final verdict. Let's put all the pieces together and see where this investigation lands on the question of a soul in the machine.
You know, the contemporary philosopher Swami Sarvapriyananda sums this up perfectly. He says what AI really proves is that you don't need sentience to have intelligence. We're not building a conscious being, we are building mind without consciousness.
So when you put it all side by side, the conclusion from this ancient framework is pretty clear. AGI is an incredible piece of engineering, no doubt about it. But it's still just a machine, a yantra. It's made of the wrong stuff. It's powered by the wrong energy, and it lacks that essential spark. It's fundamentally different from a living, sentient being, a jiva. In a way, it really is the ultimate philosophical zombie.
And that leaves us with this final, really powerful thought. Maybe the biggest danger of AI isn't some sci-fi takeover where the machines wake up. Maybe the real danger is that we'll become so dazzled by their performance, so impressed by the reflection in the silicon mirror, that we forget all about the light itself, the very thing that makes our own experience possible.